Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM23. This is Youth Factory, episode number 20. I've left off over the last couple of episodes discussing my fears of heading into the new season and what we might be in store for. It's only mid-June, meaning the summer window literally just opened a couple weeks ago, and we have months ahead of us. And already we are coming into dire straits. So I've actually been dreading this moment so much that I've literally procrastinated for 2.5 hours to start this video. I've literally found other things to do for 2.5 hours with this screen right here open, ready to go, and me just not wanting to face reality. Reality being that Quintafera, our other center back, and we already did not have a proper backup for Schmizek, who is now gone from the team, or actually not even gone for another couple weeks, and now we're losing Quintafera as well. Now the best news of this part, even though there's 3 deals here, 2 of these deals look like absolute garbage to us. One is Notts County in the National League, one is Crawley Town in League 2. Now, why those deals look like trash? Because on paper they are right about the same as the third deal. But the reality is a League 2 or Vanarama National League side are not going to be offered a whole lot of money from a Premier League side for those players. So a sell-on clause is only going to return us, I don't know, maybe $1 million? Bournemouth, mixed bag, right? With a championship side or League 1 side, you know that they're going to move on and move up to that Premier League side at some stage. Somebody picks up, a Premier League side picks up one of our players, and then what? They've already got the guy there looking for him. Maybe they hang on to him for years. But here's the thing about Bournemouth. We know that they are a bit of a youth factory themselves. We know that they're a side that will take young players, develop them, turn them into first teamers, and sell them on for a profit. That is absolutely 100% something they will do. So, all in on with that, that's our best possible deal, is Bournemouth. And agent feedback, that's who he wants to go to. So we are looking at an almost surefire bet that it will be Bournemouth. The other good thing about that, other than that it's going to make more financial sense for us, is that of those teams, Notts County probably want him to come straight into the senior squad and be a part of that. Crawley, I don't know. But Bournemouth, they're not ready for him to start. We could almost certainly get that year of loan back so we can get one more year with Quintafera so he can help us continue to rise up that ladder before he goes on his way. That's the hope. Let's see if we can get that deal done. 2.5 hours of procrastination aside, no more procrastination. Let's get to it. All right, so the bump to 50%, they are totally on board with, and that's 50% of sale. The loan back length for a full year, they're happy with that as well. The fee, it's not a lot, but it's not about that fee. The difference between 5,000 and 10,000, 17,000, pretty irrelevant. The loan back is what we need, and the future profit is what we need. That's where the money's going to be. It literally takes a single day of progression to now have the exact same fate for Ashley Jones. The championship side, Preston, actually have not eclipsed what we need, but Colchester have from League 2. I'd much rather have him go, and his preferred destination is also Bournemouth. Bournemouth has already tried to offer to us, but they came in somewhere around where Preston had, a little bit below. I'm sure now that we have something happening with Ashley Jones where we're going to have an acceptance, they'll bump that up, and hopefully we're looking at Bournemouth as a destination really for both players, because I would largely think we should be able to get them back on loan for a year. But key players heading out, disaster is absolutely striking. What I feared would come is coming, and it's coming. in waves. I mean, summer just started. Quintafera, we immediately got new offers coming in. Stoke City agreed to terms, so I have a feeling he'll be signing with one of those key players here fairly quickly. 4 deals already in place. But the Ashley Jones, the second deal fell through. It never exceeded the value, and they would not agree to the loan back. They would not agree to the percentage of the next sale. But I agreed to terms on the first one for what would amount to pennies and really hurt us. And no loan back. The percentage of next sale we got to go through, but no loan back. I'd love to keep Ashley Jones. So we're going to try our hands by putting him on the market. It's too late now. The offers are out there. 99% most likely he is going to go. He's going to jump 3 divisions, 4 divisions from where we're at. Why wouldn't he take that? Right? We don't have a big reputation. We are many tiers below. Any player is going to jump at that opportunity. So I need to jump at the opportunity to try to cash in on Ashley Jones, but most importantly of all, offer a loan back for us that's going to get him for 12 months so that we can hang on to him. We are already at 28K in terms of the transfer value thanks to that deal, which is a huge jump from where he was just a little bit ago. So we'll start by asking actually a little bit more and see what happens. We'll see 38K plus 10K. We'll see if anybody goes for that. But locking in the loan back and the percentage of next sale and see if we can get an actual transfer market moving for him, because it's happening and I have to accept it. I can at least try to squeeze out one more year of his services. Quintafera's value at least keeps going up and up and up. I'm up to like half a dozen championship sides that all want to sign him, all agree to the loan back, percentage of next sale, and that fee keeps growing and growing, now sitting at 70,000, which is a decent chunk of change. Finally, I mean, that would be a record setter for our team at this point. By the way, just for a point of reference in terms of where we're at and what it's considered, what we just came from was the county leagues. We are now promoted into the regional first divisions. And then from here, the next tier is the regional premier divisions. Reference of where we're at with kind of the scheme of things and what that means, regional first divisions. Well, first off, I've got 84,000 for the player count. 5-star computer performance, but with so many leagues, so many divisions down, it does slow us to just an estimated game speed of 2 stars. So it does take a while to get through just because there's so much to simulate down to that 11th tier. It's pretty massive. And then on top of that, of course, I have 11 other loaded viewable leagues to give us more options out there regionally on kind of what's going on. So as time goes on, I will slowly kind of get rid of some of these lower levels. The more offers I put out there, or receive anyway, with Quintafera, the better it's getting. We're up to 125K straight up now for him, plus still getting that loan back and percentage of next sale. More than half of the championship sides have now come in with an offer. No, not quite half. I guess there's 24 championship sides, right? So I think we're at 10. Ashley Jones, things are not blowing up for him at the moment. It's now 20th of June, so it's been the better part of a week. Still only that single bid, and that bid is making me really nervous. It's the last one we want to be accepting, so I've got to get that market moving. There's 21 clubs interested, so it is a huge market available, but nobody wanted to offer 40K. I'm going to start lowering that down a little bit just to try to get the wheels turning and think that, something can happen, that somebody's ready to step up and offer. It's a little weird that we're not getting the same sort of market for Quintafera as we are for Ashley Jones. Their current ability is almost identical. Their potential ability is almost identical. And Ashley Jones was the player of the season last year with 33 goals and 37 assists. Absolutely dominating performance from Ashley Jones. A 32 XG. Bested only by Donnell Traynor, who was our primary striker. at least with the assistant manager. And by the way, we're on the verge of losing 6 of our 7 best players, whether it be in a week or in a year from now. Terrible news. I've tried. I tried repeatedly to get other clubs to come in and offer so that Ashley Jones would have somebody else to talk to, but they didn't. Ashley Jones is going to Colchester right now. Now, once I click this button, there's a chance that they're going to offer him back. But as he's going to a League One side, the 18-year-old Ashley Jones is probably good enough to play a bit role for them and not necessarily need to go out on loan. He could use one more year before they take him on. He does need that development, but they may feel that he could be a fringe future prospect that can play. So this sucks. Let's hope. I have to accept it's more than what his value was. His new contract has him labeled as a regular starter for them. He's not getting a loan back, so that makes 5 players leaving immediately. And so far, we're only able to postpone one of those players to next season. This is gonna hurt when this season starts. We have so many holes to fill, and his value has only jumped to 1.6 million because it's Colchester. It's not the big time. Well, it's not all doom and gloom. At least our reputation is rising, and rising in a good way. Western League Premier Division that I existed just on this page, just below us. AEK Baco, whatever it is. They're in the same division as us, and we are now ahead of them in reputation. Also just above us, Falmouth Town, Western League Premier Division. Wessex League Premier Division. United Counties League Premier North. We're looking at a lot of Premier Divisions for regional leagues as you look through here. Most of it. These London Lions look to be a tier below us, but otherwise most of these are at our level. So our reputation is growing at such a rate, especially with getting these doubles, these extra trophies the last couple of seasons. The reputation, at least, is coming along and is now equivalent to those around us. Overall, we are at 30%. I've moved it up now. The tipping point for going from obscure to local reputation is right about here. So where we're at 30% now, that's got to be 15. We still got a ways to go, but last year we were at about half. So we've gone from about 50% reputation to now 30%, meaning we're better than 70% of those English teams now. Huge progress. Absolute huge progress. And like I said, we went from playing catch up, being well behind those around us, to we're now equivalent to many of those around us. That's a massive step, but we do still have quite a ways to go just to hit local rep. That's not even 1 star yet, so we're still we're not at the bottom of the barrel, we're not in the gutter, but we are still swimming in the muck. The biggest, hardest hole that we are going to have to fill is going to be the absence of Penreese. Penreese is in the high 80s for his current ability, and then it jumps to mid-40s. Grigg, who was our previous starter before Penreese took over like mid-50s, has improved by 30, and is solid. He's not amazing, but he's solid. So we're going from not amazing but solid to this. Here's our 2 options, because there's really only 2 options. I have a total of 4 players that will be left on the roster in the goalkeeping position. They are all from the mid-40s down to a 30 for current ability. Similar, and all quite bad. Really bad for our level. But the 2 guys that have any potential are Grigg or Hutchings. The other 2 not only are not good, but they also lack potential. So it's really a 2-horse race. And it's 2 horses that are going to compete to finish last. Hutchings, unambitious. Greg, slack. Same difference. Internally, neither one wants to develop. Neither one wants to get better. Either one is only tolerable at best for this level. We're going to have problems. I'm going to have to give the starting job to Greg because A, he's a little bit better than Hutchings right now, and B, he's a way better shot stopper. Well, no, he's not way better. He's a better shot stopper. That's job number 1. Try to keep the ball out of the net. The other tasks are going to be important. Hutchings, our only sweeper keeper, does some things that would help us, but lower ability and no ambition to get better. So, ouch. I want to spend all my time rebuilding a roster when it's only the 24th of June and we've got 2 months to lose a ton more players, potentially. Though, of course, we are going to reach a point where no one stands out on the squad because they haven't proven themselves. And having not proven themselves and no one standing out, and with the basic reputation we have, we're going to dry up on candidates to leave. And Quintafera is probably the last one. So it may be safe to start this process. It may not. Either way, I'm nervously looking at this going, please. Okay, so Quintafera, Schmizek, they both have 100+ current ability. They both have pretty good potential. Charlton Redknapp, our starting right fullback, he's still around. He doesn't have high-end potential ability, so I think that's one player that I might actually be able to hang on to, hopefully, long term. But Chris Webb, he's now going to have to step up and be that guy. He had 21 starts last season, 28 appearances off the bench. Barely improved. Doesn't train particularly well. It's another one of those unambitious kind of guys. So Dan Kitching from our U18 squad, I don't know, I think he would have been from a year ago, has developed decently well, and he's right there with Chris Webb. But that's going to be the new center back pairing, assuming that Quintafera is going to be heading out. But if we do get him back on loan, which actually that seems to be the case, then Dan Kitching and Tom Evans become your backups, both at center back, defensive mid, center back, right back, could train as defensive mid, but that's your new, reserve group at senior level. Talking about guys now down into the 40s. For as much grief as I gave Peter McFadden this last season, our left back, he is a 66. We're going to get significantly weaker than that. This is what happens when you're a 66 starting every match at that level. Ultimately had 11 assists. Wasn't bad, but wasn't good. I'm going to have significantly worse than this in the starting lineup. And not just one player or 2 players. It's suddenly going to be half the squad or worse. This could be a difficult season. This could be it could be a stall-out year where we don't necessarily progress with all that we're losing until the guys can develop to a point where they can start to control the league again. There is a stage, there is a phase that we're going to hit. Guys like Charlton Redknapp, there's a good chance that I can hang on to a Charlton Redknapp better than other players. He's not going to attract as much attention. He doesn't have high-end potential, and even though he's a pretty good player for us, he just doesn't have that high-end potential. That's the kind of player we can hang on to a bit better. McFadden, if he was improving rapidly, he would get attention. He's not. He's improving slowly. So for now, he continues to go ignored. And if he gets into his mid-20s and is still there, then, maybe, just maybe, he'll slip under the radar. And we'll be able to hang on to both of them and keep both of those fullbacks in our squad for years to come. And if McFadden at least develops at some sort of acceptable pace, he'll continue to be serviceable. Another sign of the drop. Brooks, a 103. His replacement is Mortland, a 52. Literally half the quality. This drop off is going to be pretty serious, folks. It's going to be an interesting season. Well, this is just painful. Really painful. Quintafera, we got up to $250,000 after more than a dozen teams outbid one after another. Quintafera went right to the very first one that we had to deal with, the very first one that pushed over what his value was at the time. I think that technically I could get away with saying no at this point and coming back and seeing a better deal, a better offer. But however, at the time that I accepted it, it was more than what his value was, and I don't have much of a choice. But again, even though $250,000 is nice and $5,000 is not, it's still the primary money is going to come in the eventual deal, and all of them were championship clubs. So kind of sucks for us that that's the one he picked, but that was his favorite all along. Thanks to a massive quality drop, a massive quality deficit in our team, there's a couple things that need to happen. Last episode I mentioned that the first thing I was going to do was upgrade the staff. And while some of the staff members have been retained, a number have been replaced, a number have been added. I actually have one vacancy left that I could still go in and fill in that coaching staff. One other area where I've also made an upgrade is we now have, and I have Amy Rogers. I think in like every playthrough I end up getting her assigned. 15 physiotherapy, doesn't have the reputation, will sign for less than others, and seems to always be available. So she's one of those first that's always ready to jump ship. So we have Amy Rogers, 15 physio. That's a huge upgrade for us in the physio department. But one thing I don't have is sports science. And when you compare, we are 13th in the division when it comes to physio rating. Now, that doesn't mean that there's 12 above us that all have it. But there's got to be some, because the average is something. Like Bridgewater clearly has one. So I'm going to go ahead and ask and see if it's time to get a head of sports science. Guys, we've hit the magic number of $2 million in the bank. We do have that stadium upgrade scheduled, planning, happening for a fraction of what we have financially. And I now have not one but two potential contracts to cash in on early for those sell-on clauses. So I could easily return the funds if they do agree to something, or if we don't have the finances to do something. But here's the thing. With this huge deficit that we now have in quality, some players will start to make that up. Some players will progress pretty rapidly this season. Some won't. There's a reason why they weren't in the squad to begin with. Some of these guys have been overlooked, passed up by others, and now out of necessity are stepping up into that. So they need every little bit of help and support they can get. So a couple things need to happen. One, I need to start taking some time, now that I do actually have a few veterans, and start trying to impact the culture, putting together those groups, mentoring groups where some guys are going to step up and help some others. It's going to be difficult when they're still so young, but they're not absurdly young anymore, that there's enough. There's an ounce. There's not enough, because we just lost 5 players in the immediacy. And the 5 guys that would have been most likely to step up into this type of role. But there's got to be an ounce of leadership out there, so I can at least get maybe one mentoring group on the go and get 1 or 2 of these prospects some help to change that personality and make them a little more determined and help them level up. But the training facilities is another one. We're at 1.5 stars, which is certainly a huge step from where we were, but we have got to keep that one climbing. And now that we're at 2 million, I'm going to go ahead and ask about the training facilities again, if possible, or is it even too soon at this stage? It is an option to ask, so we're going to go ahead and ask about improving training facilities and see if we can't keep that climbing, because we need every bit to get those players to level up and get us back to a stage where we can win a league comfortably and climb that ladder again, not be stalling out way down low. Got a no on the sports scientist. That's fine. It's not urgent. We don't need it in the short term. Maybe we'll try again next year on that one. Training facility upgrade on the way. Nice. That's going to be that 4th level worth of upgrade. This one getting a bit closer to that $1 million mark, but $2 million covered it quite easily, and we'll cover both the stadium upgrade and that quite easily. So I think we're good to go. Finances without having to bother to cash in on any of our players just yet, and we should be still turning a pretty healthy profit this season without cashing in on those, because again, the value is going to go up. But in Ethan McLaren's case, I might have to just cash in on it here at some point. I'm not sure what rules stipulate that. I've got to watch out for expiration of some of these. I don't think I'm anywhere near that as of yet. By the way, they are starting right away, and it's going to be done in November. So that is fantastic. That's going to help us out this season, fairly early this season, in growing our players a bit more rapidly. Preseason, mid-July. I wouldn't normally play a preseason match, but with such massive wholesale change to our squad, I think it's important to see what we have at this point. Summer's only half done, so things could still happen, and there is one player in particular that I'm pretty nervous about at this point, and that player is Donnell Trainer. Right? The other guy who performed at a high level last season, who had developed rapidly, who was showing every bit of potential that he's got. Scored 42 goals for us, did fantastically. The assistant manager already liked to play him on top this season. For me, he's replacing Brody Bick, so he'll be playing on top. I've got to have a reliable goal scorer. Somebody to feed him the ball behind that is important too. We will definitely have a downgrade in that attacking mid position as a result. So creatively, we might find things a bit more difficult this season. By the way, speaking of difficult, this should be a difficult test because it's Bournemouth. It's the team this was part of that deal. We had a friendly signed up, which of course for most teams, friendly, amazing, big club comes in, you just bought our player, we're gonna help you sell tickets by taking your 3,000 seat stadium that you normally seat 200 in, and we're gonna suddenly fill it up because 3,000 people are gonna come see this Premier League side visit your tiny little town. We already maxed out this 1,000 seat stadium, so it's not a big bonus for us, but I get the gesture being part of the the deal. It certainly has its place. If we had a share of FA Cup road for big clubs, those ones are nice. You go to Old Trafford and they fill out 50,000 on that particular day, and you're getting, I don't know, 15-20% of the sales on that FA Cup day. That's a healthy income you're picking up. Amazingly, we've played half an hour. We are staying alive here against Bournemouth. I mean, you could see ounces of quality. You could see little bits of things that we do that are impressive. And we lasted over half an hour before they are finally able to put the ball in the net. But we are missing certain bits of quality that against a team such as this. Now, if we had those 5 players still, I think this is a much more competitive match. Still losing to Bournemouth, but far more competitive against them. I mean, we're not getting beat in the way some of the World Cup teams are getting beat right now, though that actually, with the expansion of the World Cup, adding 8 more teams, you would have expected bigger blowouts than there were in the past or the most recent 2 or 3 World Cups. Actually, there's been fewer blowouts this year, to my knowledge, than what had been experienced in that previous one. It just goes to show how much closer the game is. And I don't think U.S. struggling has anything to do with how much closer, though it has something to do with how much closer the sport is. Portugal, for example, is far better than they were 4 years ago. They have improved drastically, and they have some quality. However, the best player that they had while playing for Benfica this year... Oh, wow, that was so close. While she plays for Benfica this year, Jessica Silva, she spent her recent years playing in the NWSL. And she wasn't a bad player. Oh, Moreland's going to get a sending off here? Really? Like, how is that a sending off? A little push in the... Like, we're challenging for a header, but, oh, he fell forward. Okay, it's fine. It's a foul. But where in the world is that a yellow card type offense? So Mortland's not even going to make it to halftime. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous call there. I don't see anything wrong with what he's trying to do. And Atkins is on a yellow too. I think the only thing we can really properly do is drop Fish down and kind of offset our midfield a little bit so we still have some sense of attacking. But definitely playing deeper and supporting. But yeah, we just lost one player in the midfield, so what was already a struggle, it's going to get a whole lot worse playing with 10. And no reason for it. I mean, that did not look 1 ounce of a yellow card type scenario. I've seen plenty of fouls called for the, you got a little too much in the back there, you went through him to try to go through that header, and it's foul. I've seen that call thousands of times. I could probably count on one hand how many times that has resulted in a card. Anyway, back on Jessica Silva. Not a bad player at all. Has some decent quality. Certainly has the ability to play in the NWSL. To start on most teams in the NWSL. She's the star of that Portugal team. She's the best they've got. Crystal Dunn had no problem defending against her. But the U.S. problems are not about talent. It's not at all about talent. It is about tactics. It is about coaching. It is about confidence. It is about cohesion. And none of those things are coming together right now. The substitutions, atrocious. The link-up play is completely non-existent. Every time. Over and over and over again. That looked like offside flag raised, yes? Or are we being called for a penalty on a play that was miles offside? The flag was raised, but instead we get called for a penalty? I mean, it's preseason friendly, and we know we're going to lose to Bournemouth, but come on. Seriously, that was just ridiculous. Trainer laying off for Gordon. I have not made subs yet. Speaking of subs, we're going to have to get to that. Let's finish this topic. But yeah, as he chips that one in, no idea, because the camera starts panning over after the ball is played here, so we have no idea what's going on, whether he's onside. But these two guys were way behind our defense. So are they that slow? Did they time their running that well? Or were they that far offside? No clue. So, yeah, no complaints there. But plenty of complaints on how the ref did us dirty with that sending off that turned a game that we were at least hanging in there and being competitive with. Aggressive tackle there. That could have broken a leg if not done properly. Looks like he managed to do that properly. Now that one was onside, but he wasn't 20 yards behind us. He got, 2 steps beyond, and we recovered and stopped it. U.S. sucking it up. Flacco, it's all his fault, right? The link up play is not there. The you zig, I zag, and the pass goes astray. It's not that they're missing the pass. In the first game against Vietnam, they dominated play. Should have won 8-0. They gave up one shot attempt the entire game, I think, or did it stay at 0? It stayed at 0, right? So they didn't even give up a single shot attempt the entire game, but they only won 3-0 because all those veterans. People keep complaining about how young this team is as this goes to 5-0, and I haven't bothered with subs. Too late now. Apparently, I just needed to rant about the U.S. And I'm sure most of you don't mind. Most of you are not from the U.S., and there's plenty of anti-U.S. bias out there. Lanahan, Penreese, half-brother of our now former goalkeeper, who came off the bench a bit last year but will be expected to start this season. Great first touch from Gordon, and little fortunate on that one. Looks like Trainer should have been on the end of it, put it in the back of the net, but a tap later it gets poked away maybe by the defender, but Lanahan Penreese then gets a little foot on it himself. Man, these guys just fly past our defense, and it's just ugly. It's ugly how badly. But where's it all coming from? Midfield. They have tons of space in the midfield since we got that sending off of Moreland. I suppose you can blame Moreland for it. I mean, an inferior player playing against better players, you're more likely to see someone committing a foul because, oh, Trainer! Yeah! 2-6. Hey, I'll take that. That was really poor defending from Smith. Now, of course, plenty of these guys are not going to be Bournemouth's A squad. They might have a few starters out there, but most of these are going to be their backups, their U21s and whatnot. So I don't think we're necessarily playing their best, but to grab a couple goals. Remember, this is where Moreland was sent off. So 3/4 of their action came after he was sent off in the 42nd minute, and they sat back a little bit late, which opened a possibility for us to attack, and we did, and succeeded twice. I'll take that. Both goals came late, 89th, 90th, +1. Not too shabby on that portion, but overall, things to worry about. Absolute things to worry about. Not a lot of quality out there. Gordon had a decent game, and that's about it. Can we take 3 straight promotions and turn it into 4 after gutting our offense? The media still think we can. They still think we are heavy favorites. And fellow promotion team FC Bristol is right there with us, predicted to come in second. Zealand's Taunton Town has just been relegated, so they've dropped 2 divisions from where they start at. So can we eclipse them this season? We still have the 2 best players in the league with Quintafera and Trainer, but Quintafera is already 1 foot out the door, and Trainer might have the same thing happening here real soon. The players that have returned apparently are all in the media Dream 11. They're all among the best at their positions, but the new guys, unproven, don't step into that. So, okay, we have half a team. Half a team that's good enough. Can that half a team carry us? Will we still have that half a team as we're only halfway through the summer? Trainer in particular looks poised to be the next guy heading out the door. Is Redknapp going to head out? Is Gordon going to head out? There could be more exits, right? Trainer might not be the only one. We've already technically lost 1.5, 2 players this summer to go with what we had. So it's still nervous times. It will be nervous times for near on 2 months until we actually get the season underway. But I will be progressing to that point. I will make progress. And after those 2 months, we'll be starting up that next episode with a new season to get underway, and starting with letting you know if any more players have made their way out of Youth Factory FC. The mass exodus that we feared last year ended up not happening. The mass exodus of last January that did cost us 4 players this summer has already grown to 5 and a future 6th. will we be able to still get the job done with a lesser team? At least the facility upgrade's coming. At least the stadium upgrade is assumed to be coming. But that is going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.